Hi, chat.
Hello, everyone.
So,
Hi guys.
you know what's weird about PTOs is like they were very, very popular in FRC a few years ago, and then they were actually super popular in VEX last year. And it's like this kind of weird thing that like we're seeing like different programs hitting it at different times. It's kind of interesting.
But Vex, they had a hang last year as well, right?
They have
Yes,
a
yeah.
crazy hang this year.
They have a hang that
Yeah,
nobody can
Switch
really
hang
do
is
this
crazy.
year, but
Yeah,
Actually,
insane.
or nobody wants to because the cost benefit's not worth it currently.
Yeah.
I'm so unaware of what's happening in
The,
Vex.
Yeah.
the hangs in FTC right now are much more exciting than what they are in VEX.
Yeah. I've seen so many Vex teams like try and go for like the top bar and fall off and the robot just crash and break.
Yeah,
It's
that's
kinda
always
sad.
scary.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everything's working, so we'll see what breaks soon. It's a good sign.
Got it.
All right. Let me bring up that. I got the giveaways. Good.
So what I say, giving away a Spark Fund is crazy.
Dude, they gave us a whole bunch of those to give away. So,
Heck yeah.
Let's go.
yeah. No, really, the interactions I've had with the gentleman who works there has been really cool. Like, they seem like a really cool company. So,
Yeah.
I wish they had more first products to sell, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if it's anything like how this is, man, like, but that they're a big
Yeah.
company, like, otherwise, like, they have a huge social following and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be curious to see how it develops and continues to develop because I've seen some teams have some issues with like the distance off the field and like any dust or the tape causes it to be off.
Hmm.
And so like we were originally going to do that at the beginning of the season because it looked a lot easier, but now we're using the Go Build a Pinpoint, and that has been a game changer for autonomous.
Yeah, the Go Build Up Pinpoint is crazy. We've been using it to. We were planning on trying stuff with Limelight and the Spark Fan odometer sensor, but it just isn't worth it with how well the
Yeah.
Go Build
Yeah.
Up thing works.
All right, hey,
Yeah.
party peeps, let's get started here. Let me make sure I got my last things.
Kooky and Brainstormers top 25 is
That
crazy.
definitely, it's already rigged. It's already meant for them. So
Gluten free.
never heard of them. All right. All right, let me hit record. Abasi, you ready?
Yeah, I'm just gonna tilt this up just to here. Okay, good. All right, everyone, coming up on FTC Top 25, we have 25 amazing teams comprised of your votes from the community. We'll count down the list, give some insights into these teams, have a couple giveaways, and more. So let's get ready for the January FTC Top 25.
This video on fun is brought to you by our viewers, supporters, members, and also in partnership with the following. The new Robot system by AnyMark can reduce complexity and enable robust builds. Parts aligned to a common 1/2 inch grid, simplifying construction and allowing alignment of both structure and motion components. Robots enables teams to always have the parts they need to complete a build. Head on over to anymark.com/robots to learn more and order today. True competitors know that every second counts. That's why Kettering University challenges you to dive in right away as a first-year student. Participating in robotics programs helps Kettering students secure a valuable co-op. Whatever your interests, Kettering gives you more space to work faster and win faster. Learn more at kettering.edu/first.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FTC Top 25, where we reveal the top 25 teams you voted for. From Fun FTC, I'm Abbas, and joining me tonight are Anthony, Jessica, Buru, and our producer behind the scenes, Tyler. We're excited to have you all back tonight as we start the new year for our third FTC Top 25 for Into the Deep, and for so many of you to participate in voting for FTC Top 25. Remember that for a team to be eligible for our Top 25 voting, they must have competed in an official Into the Deep event. So make sure next month you keep an eye out for when voting opens to cast your votes. We have giveaways tonight from SparkFun and AndyMark. And we also want to give a shout out to FTC Scout, who we are utilizing some of our data from. So with that, let's get right into the January FTC Top 25. Starting off, we have Team 20077, the Indubitables from Omaha, Nebraska. They competed last week, going undefeated through qualifications and eliminations, and they have the characteristics we expect of a T25 robot. They have a fast intake, 5 specimen auto, level 2 ping. I could go on and on. What stands out to me about them, however, is that they're not afraid to intake from the opposing side of the submersible. We can see them exclusively collecting red samples from the far side at the beginning of the match, and I'm really interested to see if they keep up this strategy for the rest of the season. From my understanding and a little bit of YouTube searching, this is the last we're going to see of their V1 robot. So I'll keep my eyes out for what's next. But I've really enjoyed talking about them this season. I think this is maybe the third time we've talked about them on Top 25. But yeah, Anthony, you have anything you want to add about them?
Yeah, so I really like how fast they are. I've started to see teams be a lot faster this year, even though there isn't as much distance to travel, which is something that's making teams stand out. And I think your point of the team of them cycling from the far side of the submersible, that's making them stand out because it's playing defense on the other alliance, and that's something I'm not seeing many teams do. So I'm curious if now that we've seen this and talked about it, I'm curious if more teams are going to start trying to do that as the season
For
goes
sure.
on.
Yeah, let's hear about number 24.
All right, at number 24, we have Team 18225 High Definition from Beloev, Washington. High Definition was a boss's snub for December, and it's well worth them being on this list. With their OPR of being 167.17 and being ranked 47th in the world, they're putting up some pretty good numbers. Their deposit for specimen, as we can see here, whenever they score them, actually it pitches, and you can see their deposit pitches right there, and that's something that's very unique. Their 5 specimen auto is very fast due to their active intake, and their pitching mechanism for their samples allows for them to just slide out of their bucket, and we don't see them climb here, but they can do so. So, Jessica, do you have any comments on this team?
I mean, yeah, I feel like they've always had pretty robust designs every year, and I guess this year is no different for sure. They look like they have a really solid transfer as well, and looks really consistent. It looks pretty passive, so that's always nice. You eliminate that sort of place of error potentially. So yeah, they're doing really good, as you can see from their OPR. So yeah.
Jessica, was it you were allianced with them last year at Worlds? Is that correct?
I don't think so. I think we played one match against them.
Okay, I see, but same division and stuff. So yeah, you know how competitive High Definition is every year. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about number 23.
Great. So next at 23, we have team 14903 Sharkbots from Merrimack, New York, with an OPR of 185.19 and a top 10 teleop score of 147.34, which makes a lot of sense when you see their torpedo speeds on the field. Their passive claw intake is really well optimized, quickly taking up samples in the submersible with ease, and I really wonder if they've had any sensors on that module to ensure that they're picking up the right colored elements, or if they're just super well driver practice because it's super fast. And for game strategy, it looks like they're very optimized for specimen scoring, where at the first 40 seconds of the match, they got all their samples, and in the last 1 minute 20-ish, they just kept on scoring them all, which was super efficient. It worked really well for them.
Yeah, I think this is a strategy we talk about every month, and we see, I think we see more and more teams do this. But as we get into regionals or state championships and nationals, I feel like in elimination matches, we're not going to see this happen, or it's going to take just 1 or 2 matches where the other alliance starts playing defense right at the end of the match, and then you have a bunch of unscored specimens. Buru, do you think we'll see that, or do you see the strategy sticking the whole way throughout the season?
Personally, I don't think playing defense is that well worth it, even if the other team is spamming specimens. Especially in playoff matches, you're gonna have competitive teams against the competitive teams, and I feel like defense is only useful when you're gonna be outscored if you don't play that, and that probably might not happen.
Okay, yeah, let's see how it goes. Do you want to talk about number 22?
Sure. So number 22 is Droid Force from Maple Valley, Washington. They have an OPR of 161. They went unbeaten in their qualification matches and had a really good run in the playoffs of the Asimov semifinal. What impressed me about this robot is how well they nailed their agility of their long arm for the outtake. You can you can see it here. They're all with a very long arm when scoring specimens. With the considerable force needed for them to be scored, they tackled the challenge very well. Finally, as with any clawbot, I have to applaud the precision they have when picking up samples. We'll see them compete again at the Washington State Championship, and I'm excited to see what they'll bring.
Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise we're gonna have a lot of Washington teams on the top 25 tonight, and they're all gonna be competing in like 2 weeks or so. I'm still really interested to see like how the whole claw versus active intake goes. I feel like claw is still gonna have an advantage in auto, kind of like last year. But I think teleop like come Worlds time, it's just gonna be so much more useful to have that active intake. Anthony, what do you think?
Yeah, so with seeing some of the top 25 teams that we have coming up and some of the teams in general, it's really coming down to how they actually do their active intake from what I've seen, because I've seen some that have the gecko wheels that actually the back is open so it can transfer, and then they have sensors in it so they can see during auto whenever they're picking it up, is it the color that they want or not? Because if it is, they'll stop it, but if it's not, it'll just keep feeding through and then just try and find another one. So I think it's going to depend on the bot and how they can optimize it, and then the drive team as well for when it comes to teleop.
Yeah, definitely. All right. In 21st, we have our first international team for the night. So this is last year's world champions, Team 18763 Techspan from Cape Town, South Africa. Techspan competed for the first time this season this past weekend, going undefeated and ending with the 15th highest OPR. They have a familiar transfer design with a separate intake and outtake, and of course are just super smooth drivers. What sets them apart to me are their intake slide speed and the horizontal linear rail they have on that intake. We can see it super clearly in this auto video here, but they just use both of them super well together, and that's what gives them that 7 sample auto. Given their software prowess last season, I could totally see them using a camera to pick it up and like choose specific samples. And I think there's just a lot of aspects of TechSpan that we'll see teams adapting and picking up, like that horizontal axis come Worlds. It's just like a great user space, gives you a ton of versatility. So I can't wait to see how they do at South African Nationals. It's going to be like 3 to 4 weeks. But yeah, I'm really hoping to see them again at Worlds. Jessica, anything you want to note about TechSpan?
Yeah, that's actually the first time I've seen a robot with that kind of linear rail on the intake this year. That's like I could really see it coming into use when you have those more competitive matches where you have different robots colliding with each other near the submersible. So if you want to save some time strafing, you just move your linear rail and your intake gets moved. So yeah, that's really cool. I honestly haven't thought about that this season. So
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
think
nice to
like
see it.
last season we saw Gearhead 16460 with that on their outtake. But they had that whole like differential also going on, so it's like definitely not easy for any team to just pick up and adapt. And I also don't think TechSpans is just like you can watch the video, pick it up, and put it on your robot. But definitely something to think about for teams. All right, Anthony, let's hear about our top 20.
At 20, we have 9881 Golden Gears from Canada, California. We are familiar with this team as they were number 19 in November, and they were a team I talked about. Their OPR is now 158.89, putting them 69th in the world. Their fast and nimble robot, as we saw before, is truly one that cannot be missed. Its active intake paired with the quick arm scoring is one that makes it extremely competitive. With no climb and this high of an OPR, they're averaging 15 samples in teleop. If they could figure out a climb or some way to do more samples in Auton, this bot will be one that everyone knows and become a household name. I'm sure we'll see this team again as they just keep improving. And for me, with how high their OPR is, obviously they're doing something right if they don't have any sort of climb and they just have a 4-sample auto. So that's just really showing off how fast this robot is and how good the drivers are. Jessica, do you have any comments?
Yeah, their active intake is probably one of the best I've seen, actually. That's like insane how easily they're able to pick up those samples from the submersible. And I think their robot is really excellently well optimized for this season. It's like I have no areas where I'd see they would have to improve. It looks very nice.
Yeah, it's teams like this that really make me question, is claw or active intake better, because it executes it so flawlessly. It's hard for it to think like, oh, it's not better because you see it and it just picks it up perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, on the
that's the
topic
thing
of
this
claws,
season.
Jessica, you want to
Oh, yeah.
talk about
Okay.
19?
Yeah, so next at 19, we have 22492 Futures from Kappa Hawaii and sitting at a stellar OPR of 185.24 as one of the global top 10. This team has a simple yet very optimized design with a pass-through horizontal linkage that delivers samples in the bucket with ease. It also looks like they have an extra joint on their claw to have much more flexible intaking over the submersible. With the hardware aside, software optimization is where this team truly shines, and they have a very consistent autonomous. And currently, Futures stands at third in the world for autonomous, which is means like a pretty consistent 5 specimen auto, which is pretty rare.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think what's surprising to me this season is how many Hawaii teams we've had. I think we've had at least 3 teams on our top 25 over the past couple of months. So that's really neat to see, like, Hawaii as a region just, picking up and seeing. I think another thing I'm interested in seeing also is like when a team's going to hit like the perfect 5 specimen auto OPR as well. I think the calculation gets messed up a little here and there. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Buru, anything you want to add about
I'm
Futures?
I'm very amazed by how these teams come up with these many degrees of freedom intakes and just a claw at the end, and yet so precise. It amazes me. I really don't understand how they can be so precise, especially against defense. And I've seen that too. So
Yeah. Okay, let's hear about number 18 then, Buru.
then the number 18 team is the Minute from Bellevue, Washington, and what an incredible team for the second year competing. At 171 OPR, they came on top after the qualies and then won the ASMO semifinals event. They also won the Motivate award there. What a cool idea! They pick up the specimen with a claw lined up with the longest part of the sample, so they only have to flip their arm and drive the clip onto the chamber, so that the hook is aligned perfectly with the bar. This allows them to get a very good specimen auto. The crew active intake is very impressive too, and we'll see them again at the Washington Championship, and I'm sure the competition will fear them.
Yeah, I think, Washington champs, the eliminations are just going to be absolutely nuts. And I think especially with like this year's new format, I'm super excited. But I think Minutemen will do well. Like as you said, they're super competitive, and I'm interested to see if they just like continue to specimens the whole match, or if they'll switch over to samples um, and things like that. But yeah. All right, moving on to 17th, we have team 19955, the BHS Robo Rangers from Bushland, Texas. They were last on our November T25 and since then competed just this past weekend. They're currently ranked 8th by total OPR, 2nd in auto, 23rd in teleop, and 27th in endgame. So honestly, this team can just do it all right now. They have a very consistent 5 specimen auto, a level 2 hang at least, and super fast teleop. From the shorts we have on screen, they've also added some more linear slides to hit a level 3 hang, and it seems like switched to an active intake, but also added it like a sweeping mechanism to really speed up their auto cycles. So I'm really excited to see how they do. I think teams can pick up a lot from Robo Rangers. They just have a lot of neat little features on their robot that I think will help teams get to the next level. Jessica, what do you think?
I love seeing Texas teams do well. This team has been excellent this season. Definitely going to make Texas State's a little harder once we hit March. But yeah, they have an excellent robot. One of the first I've seen with that sweeper to get all the samples inside the human player station. That really does save a lot of time in the autonomous period because you don't have to go back and forth. So yeah, love to see Texas teams doing well.
Okay, and Anthony, let's get back to the Bellevue, Washington teams with number 16.
Yeah, at number 16, we have 21229 Quality Control from Bellevue, Washington. With their OPR of 168.67 and ranking 43rd overall, their auto is what always stands out to me. If you ever look at their YouTube channel or their Instagram, they're always posting some new auto that they have. From their 4+0 sample to their 5+0 specimen, as we see here, they don't sound super special, but it's how they do it. They're always so fast and it's so agile and it's so smooth to watch. Like as you can see here, it's just back and forth and it's so smooth. I'm sure they're working on some things behind the scenes, that we don't know about. Their drop-down intake is really interesting as it uses a 4-bar to deploy it, and it works really well. And from the match scene here, they prioritize samples and can do a really good job at it. I'm sure they can do the exact same with specimen. They're
Yeah.
also, and they average quite a few as well from what I can tell. And I cannot wait to see the cool things we see at Washington State with all the teams we've seen so far and the teams we will see.
Yeah, I've always found their like chamber alignment mechanism really neat. I'm wondering if it's printed out of just PLA or if it's like instead TPU, PETG, something a little bit more flexible. But I think that's that could work for a lot of teams just to make those cycles a little bit faster. But yeah, I mean, quality control always a top team. This year is definitely no exception. All right. Before we get into our snubs, I think Tyler, we're gonna have a giveaway. So let's hear about that, and then we'll go on.
Yeah, we're going to be starting a giveaway in just a moment. Let's thank our friends at Kettering University for their support of fun content as well, too. Students, if you're looking for a great place to go where you actually get a job right away, Kettering has a unique co-op program where you can make tens of thousands of dollars working in that co-op, and you are placed, every single Kettering student is placed into a co-op. So check it out. Go to kettering.edu/first, see if it's a good fit for you, and scan the QR code if you'd like to as well, too. They do have scholarships, first scholarships available that you can also apply for. Those are going to be closing very soon as well, too. So once again, go to kettering.edu/first for more information to see if Kettering is a good fit for you. And we're also going to start our giveaway, as the boss mentioned, from our friends at Spark Fun. These are those awesome optical tracking odometry sensors. If you're interested in winning, just type in odometry in chat right now. It's your opportunity to win. We'll draw from that a little bit later. It powers you to elevate a robot's navigation capabilities with precision and streamlined integration. And don't forget, if you are a YouTube subscriber, free to do this. Click that subscribe button right now. You do get 3 times luck. And also a big shout out to all of our YouTube Join supporters and members who are getting early access to our content and even ad-free content as well, too. So type in odometry in chat right now. That's your opportunity to win. We'll draw for that in just a little bit. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Tyler. So it's time for our snubs of the month for January. So these are teams that did not make the FTC top 25, and they even landed outside of the top 50. But still, each of us wants to recognize and give a reason why we think that these teams could have made the top 25 this month. Anthony, let's start with you.
My snub is Team 11329 Ice Robotics from Bloomington, Indiana. Their bot, as you can see, their signature white and blue look, as that we all know and love. Their OPR is 101.1, and that does not do them justice. Their bot has improved a lot since this competition and talking with the team. And while this video does not depict it, they have a 4+0 sample, a 5+0 specimen, and a level 3 hang. Their climb is unique how it works with the stilts in the front that pushes them off the ground and then gets them up to that 3rd bar. Their active intake into their thin and fast outtake is something that's really going to help them succeed in their matches. They also now have implement sensing to pick up samples out of the submersible, making them that much faster. They compete this upcoming weekend in their qualifier tournament, and I cannot wait to see how their stats go up.
Yeah, I feel like with Ice every year, like they do something, or like I see the robot when they post that like initial super cool picture. I'm like, I don't think an arm can be that long and like still work, or I don't think an intake that looks like that could really work. But every year they make it work, and it's just like super fast, super cool. So yeah, Anthony, I totally agree with you. I think Ice is going to be excellent at this qualifier, and we'll see them pretty high up in our February top 25. Jessica, who did you pick?
Yeah, so my snub pick was 21227 Legend from Fremont, California. And this team is probably one of the best bucket side robots that I've personally seen, at least. And they have a very high OPR at 174.71. And in total, and they are currently 31st in the world leaderboard with their very simplistic pass-through design. It looks like a passive intake is working very well for them, and it cuts down those cycle times just a little bit more to maximize scoring during the match. And it also looks like their drivers are very well practiced to go and cycle the samples. Overall, just very good execution to tackle the bucket. And I can't believe they weren't on the top 50.
Yeah, Buru, what do you think about Legend?
Again, I'm so impressed by teams that manage to coordinate those degrees of freedom together to pick up samples that well from a submersible. It just goes to show how much practice can make a bot work really well and make it very competitive.
Yeah, they remind me a lot of one of Hyperion's partners from Power Play that had just like a really long arm on their robot. It'll come to me later in the show. But yeah, another NorCal team that just had like a super long arm and was super fast. But yeah, clearly it's working really well.
Mhm.
So let's see how it plays out. Buru, let's hear about your snub.
So my snub is 19098, Eastern Foxes from Ploiești, Romania. They came up with the fastest robot I've seen this season. A 3-motor lift and an insanely quick 1 more pivot for their extension, and finally a robot so light it flies on the field. You can see them in here that they pick up their specimen in a very particular way. They intake it from the ground in with a clip coming up through them, and they deposit normally. But I'm really interested to see how this choice will play out, especially in the high rank competition they have coming up. They're gonna be competing to league mates and the league tournament of what is probably the most competitive league in Romania, the South League. So
Yeah, so Buru, do you know with that three motor lift, as you were saying, is the idea to use it also for the level three hang, or are they planning to do something else
I'm not
for
sure
the
about
level
their
three?
hanging plans, to be honest, but
Hmm.
I I think they posted some render video a while ago on their YouTube channel, and they had some crazy video mechanism in their drivetrain. So that's probably gonna be something like that. I think I saw someone talk about a 5 motor climb. Yeah, that's funny.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, you're gonna blow your fuse before you get to peak power output. But anyways,
I
my
guess.
snub is team 25943 Hive Robotics from Spring, Texas. They're currently ranked 32nd by OPR, being fifth in auto and 65th in teleop. They competed a few days ago, setting the Texas record at 369 points in their first match. I think Hive Robotics is a robot that will do really well in Texas. They have a wide base that they use to push around other teams in the submersible, a reliable active intake, and a fast specimen cycling system. These are just all things you need in a competitive state like Texas. And so I think they have a ton of potential, and I can't wait to see how they do at their league champs. Jessica, I want your thoughts on this because it's very possible you might play against them.
Yeah, so I think it's really impressive how this team has been able to like combat like the issue with like center of gravity because it looks like they have like mounted their slides, it looks like in the middle of their robot, which I think does a really good job for them. So yeah, really excited to hopefully play against or with them at States.
Yeah, and it's pretty neat to me how you can like have a robot that looks like it's so heavy, but I'm sure with all that carbon fiber, it's not much more than anything else. Yeah, than any of the other standard robots.
And I'm
Yeah,
about to
for
say
sure.
Okay.
it look. It, I'm about to say it's
Mhm.
really interesting because from that video, it looked like their slides were up the entire time. Like after the auto start, it looked like their slides extended up past the first bar. So that's something I haven't seen often that I think is really unique about that robot.
Yeah. All right, Jessica, let's go back to our rankings.
Great. So now that we've shared all of our snub choices, it's time to go back to the rankings, like you said. So at 15, we have team 10644 Cybugs from Saline, Michigan. And as a member of Top 25 every month so far this year, this team has a very innovative design and it's very impressive. They are very lightweight and speedy, and it's clear that every single part of each subsystem serves a very clear purpose to the overall function of the robot. And when you see them picking up the specimen from the field wall, it looks like they're using some kind of sensor that detects it because the pickup is like very automatic. If not, they probably have some pretty impressive speed for the drivers to maneuver at.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Cybugs every month. They were first in November. They were first in December. I'm sure when they come out with things right before Worlds, they'll be very high ranked again. But so far, they've been pretty quiet for the past month, which is expected. So, Buri, you want to just go on to number 14?
Right. So number 14th is AI Citizens from Focșani, Romania. Last year's winning alliance captain comes back with such a signature robot. Light, fast, and simple. That's all you need to be a force to be reckoned with on the field. They were the finalist alliance captain and won the second place control award at the East League tournament in Romania. As per usual, their driving is top notch, not well reflected by the 179 OPR in my opinion. They are so good with samples and especially at picking up with their claw. I got to play against them against this amazing team, and I was honestly amazed by how little they were affected by the rest of the movement in the submersible. From what I know, they don't plan to change much for the remaining national championship. I was only told about a potential active intake upgrade, but we can be sure that they'll practice their driving like no other team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, AI Citizens, as you said, were last year's winning alliance captain. And Anthony, do you have anything you want to add about them?
Yeah, so this robot absolutely blew me away when I saw this match. With how fast they are when they're accelerating, they're popping wheelies, and when they're hitting the submersible, they're bouncing off with how fast they're going. I actually reached out to them to figure out how they were so fast, because I was like, oh, this chassis got to be like 1100 RPM or something like that with how fast it is. But the drivetrain ratio is 326 RPM. The lift motor is only one motor with a 1000 final RPM that's countersprung, and the extendo is around 1100 RPM. So it's crazy to me that they're just this fast and this nimble. So I'm sure they're extremely lightweight. And I can't wait to see where they go. I've been really impressed with their driving because it's a single driver robot full. And so I love what they can do, and I can't wait to see how they do at Armenia National Championships.
For sure. All right. In 13th place, we have Team 16917, the Gear Wizards from Otsego, Minnesota. They're currently 41st in the world by OPR, but I foresee them being much higher in the future. They are easily one of the fastest cycling claw robots this season, with just so many software enhancements and automations to optimize every action. I know they've explored adding some extra degree of freedoms to their end effector, and I can't wait to see how that turns out. The second video we have coming up shows them doing specimen cycles, which I think is pretty rare. Usually we just see them putting sample after sample in the basket. And we've talked about Gear Wizards a lot before, but to put it simply, that robot is just a beast. I think they'll do very well at their next competition in mid-February. Jessica, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, they're just so fast. I remember this is probably one of the first teams of this season that I saw that was probably pretty exceptional. They've just been leveling up their performance all season, and I can't wait to see what they develop in the future.
For sure. All right, Anthony, let's hear about number 12.
At number 12, we have Team 12808 Revamped Robotics from Portland, Oregon, with their OPR of 181.38, making them ranked number 18 in the world. They are really a team to be reckoned with. Their 5-sample auto, where they cycle from inside the submersible, as depicted here, is something that sets them apart from others. Teams that are able to really do this, set themselves out, and this kind of auton will matter in the future, because you'll start to have teams that are able to just do this every time. And this robot's just so fast and agile, as you can see there with the acceleration. It's so quick. And their active intake allows for quick sample pickup off the ground. It wasn't as fast as as it is in teleop during autonomous, but it really helps. And this robot again makes some of these, like ones like this, make me question: is a claw better than an active intake or not? Because they just grab that and they're up and gone. Now I'm not sure if they have a climb in this match. They do not climb; they end up parking. But it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't, because of how fast their slides are. But I think this is really going to be a team we're going to see more from. Abbas, do you have any comments on it?
Yeah, I mean, Revamped is just huge every season, and I think this one's no exception. I'm really excited to see how Oregon States plays out. I feel like every year we've just had is it going to be Revamped and Overcharged, or Revamped and Tober, or what combination? And now this year we have some new players in the game. And so, we'll talk about them later. So I don't want to say too much now, but I'm really excited to see how they do at States. Jessica, you want to go into 11?
Yeah, sure. So coming in at 11, we have Team 6417 Blue Crew from Rockville, Maryland. And the first thing I noticed about this team is their extremely fast intake, and they waste little to no time sucking up samples from the submersible. It also looks like they have rollers on one side of their intake, which when intaking the specimen, it's in the vertical layout, and the horizontal when it's getting the samples, which is something I haven't seen yet this year. And just the way they've been able to implement everything onto the box tube extension, which eliminates the need for the transfer, just really helps with the cycle times. And their OPR is currently 7th in the world at 191.02, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think as far as Chesapeake goes, like they're kind of a level above everyone else right now. Like they, as you said, they have the 191 OPR, and then second place is 163. So coming into Chesapeake Regionals, definitely a clear favorite. But the consistency is going to be super, super important, and I'm looking forward to see what Blue Crew does. As they compete in a few weeks. All right, Brew, let's hear about top 10.
Okay, so number 10 is Proxima Nova from Lake Oswego, Oregon. This team is probably the best one at scoring specimens in my opinion, as the incredible optic seems to be designed for this task specifically. I can count at least four degrees of freedom, or an horizontal extension with an arm on a turret and a claw on a wrist. Using this, they can travel in a diagonal line from the chamber to a human player to intake and deposit specimens, making them have a 3 to 4 second cycle time. This allowed them to get the first 6 specimen on auto, and what seems crazy to me is that there's still a lot of room for optimization. I can't wait to see what this team comes up with next. Sorry about that.
So yeah, but I guess the question is then you said they have a ton of optimization. You think they can still do? So do you think they can do 8 specimen auto, or is 7 going to be the limit we see?
I'm pretty certain they can do 7, but I'm not sure about 8. There's still a lot of, like, for example, this part, the first part, there's a lot of stuff to improve when just taking the first three samples from the ground. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe they could get an 8th if they have a really lucky placement at the start with with the red samples, but other than that, I'm not sure.
And
Okay.
from what I can see, and with me having to program our robot, I think they could really optimize whenever they go up to the bar and then pulling it down and letting go. Um, from us having to fit within the 30 seconds, I see a lot of time opportunity there that you could just go right up to it and pull it down immediately and then let go. So I could see some optimization there too. But this is a really good team that I'm sure we'll see more of.
For sure. All right, Anthony, let's go on to number 8.
All right. And
Sorry, let's go on to number 9. So coming in at number 9, we have Team 23213 Open Source from Willis, Texas. They are currently ranked 5th by total OPR and 6th in teleop. They are another one of those very large but super fast Texas robots that we've talked about tonight, and they are just really good at specimens. I think what teams can look at for open source is their relatively long arm. Having such a long arm means that they need to extend less for scoring, and so they can pitch the arm back at the same time as lifting their slides, just shaving off valuable time from each cycle. For specimens, basically the entire time is just driving with everything else in parallel. So I think that's super, super efficient, and they're going to be one of the top specimen teams for the season. Overall, I think they're going to be a powerhouse in Texas, and I can't wait to see them at their league championship. Jessica, anything you want to add?
Yeah, so this team did very well at the state championship last season, and this season's obviously no different. So at the very first scrimmage of the year, they drove all the way up to North Texas area to do a scrimmage, and they had like absolutely dominated everyone in North Texas. So I'm not surprised about their wonderful performance so far this season, and yeah, they'll probably improve a lot.
Cool. Anthony, let's go on to number 8 now.
at number 8, we have another Washington team, Team 17077 Adna Robotics from Adna, Washington. This is a bot I'm sure we have all seen because of their unique level 3 ascent, but this is not the only thing that makes them stand out. The quick intake that allows for perfect transferring of the samples is something I want to highlight, as well as the stability of this robot. It is so stable whenever they extend out and they grab. They're extending their lift up and driving up to it, and you can see no wobble of the robot whatsoever. I see a lot of teams, they don't have the perfect weight distribution to be able to do that, and they just cycle from inside the submersible, and that allows for that. But I think that because of the climb being on the front, they were able to distribute some of that weight forward, and that's really helped them to be faster. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so we're going to be doing a behind the bot with Adna very soon. So I'm really excited to record that, get that out and stuff. Baru, anything you want to talk about with them?
I think this is the first team I see that is wider than it's longer, so it'd be funny. But yeah,
Yeah,
this year you really have to optimize the extension space, so that makes sense.
yeah. The good thing about being, well, I don't know exactly how long they are. I'll find out soon. But the shorter you are in length, the more you can use for the intake extension and reaching into the
Exactly.
submersible. So definitely a huge advantage there. All right, Jessica, let's talk about number 7.
Yeah, so coming in at number 7, we have one of my personal favorites from this list today. Team 11260 Upper Creek from Longmont, Colorado. Something that we totally weren't expecting to be on the list today. So when I first saw this robot, I was extremely impressed. This is the first team to have very well executed the rule that you can possess as many specimen clips as you would like. And it makes perfect sense that Upper Creek was the team to pave the way for this area for scoring. So inside the robot, they have what seems to be looking like a linear rail that puts the clips onto the samples from the intake, which is then transferred to the outtake. And in autonomous, this has allowed them to achieve a 6 specimen auto, which is really impressive. And in teleop, they've almost completely filled up the specimen rack. And just overall, very impressive robot and team. And I can't wait to see how they end up this season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think everyone was just shocked when we saw, the clipbot actually be executed and just so well by Upper Creek. But honestly, if not them, who else is going to do it? Buru, anything you want to talk about with them?
Just I was really shocked when I saw it, and it really made me revisit the idea of a clip bot, and I am excited to try out some new stuff about it. That's all I'm gonna say.
And
Yeah.
one of the things I saw was they have this 6 specimen auto, but they're not picking up the ones on the field. They're going into the submersible and picking up those samples. And I think their OPR right now is really, it seems to me, really low, because in the match that they just had, they hit 6 in auto and they had 17 total. So it should be way higher than 165.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll see it go up as time goes on. But when I saw this, my jaw dropped. I'm like, this is crazy. And I'm not surprised that it's Upper Creek. Their software is always amazing. And so I can't wait to see what else they do this season.
Yeah, I think the advantage you get from leaving those 3 red samples or blue samples out and not touching them in auto is kind of insane, because what this means is if you're taking like 6 samples out of your out of the submersible zone, the 3 that are line specific, you can just leave for the rest of the game, right? Like the other alliance has no use for those. You don't have to fight over them or anything like that. And so I think having that freedom is just so huge. And come like Worlds Elims, if Upper Creek is in there, which they totally could be, it's really going to be a decider for how things play out.
Yeah.
So yeah, Buru, let's go on to number 6.
Number 6 is Royal Engineers from Suceava, Romania. This one is, in my opinion, the best sample out in the Romanian East League. They were part of the finalist alliance at the league championship, along with AI Citizens, and won the third place Think Award. This robot uses a cloud-to-cloud transfer to skull specimens, and it manages to get very fluid and smooth motions. Though the robot doesn't look incredibly fast, they outclassed every other bot in the competition in terms of scoring samples, even very good active intakes team. They're also one of the few teams that can pick up samples from the submersible during auto. I look forward to meeting them again at the national championship.
Yeah, Jessica, what do you think?
Yeah, well, this robot is obviously very good. You know, they're ranked 6, and their OPR is absolutely crazy at 196, and their speed is just extremely impressive. Like their chassis speed that they were able to get at, which is pretty insane. Typically, we don't see speeds like that until later on in the season. So yeah, great job with this team.
Cool. All right. Before we go into our T50 and our top 5, Tyler, should we draw for the giveaway?
Yeah, let's go ahead and draw from our friends at Spark Fun, and then we're going to have another giveaway right away as well, too. So that was for the Oto sensor. Once again, odometry was the keyword for that. So if you do win, by the way, please go to funroboticsnetwork.com, click the button on the bottom of the page to fill out the form for that. And just keep in mind, it usually takes a couple weeks to send stuff out. Our winner is Nick Green. Congratulations, Nick Green. You are taking this home. And once again, go to funroboticsnetwork.com and click on the button on the bottom in order to claim. We will be starting our next giveaway from our friends at AndyMark in just a moment, but just a little bit more about AndyMark as well, too. Keep in mind, they're a fantastic spot for everything you may need for your robotics team. They are the one-stop shop for all things competitive robotics, so head on over to andymark.com, see some of the new stuff that they're cranking out, both for FTC and FRC as well, too. And they're some of the most experienced people you're ever going to find as well, too. Sincerely, I mean, we even have correspondents now that are getting jobs at AndyMark. It's just bringing in some of the best people to work at AndyMark as well. So you're going to get experts with the expertise that you need over at andymark.com once again. And thanks again to AndyMark for their support of fun. We can't make this content without AndyMark, so I really do appreciate everything that they have to offer for that. And they are giving a set of compliance stars for the giveaway. I believe they're the green 35A durometer compliance stars as well. So if you're interested in winning that, type squishy in chat right now. That's your opportunity to win. And we're going to draw for that after our number 1 team. And so we got some top 50 shout outs coming up and then top 5 teams. Let's find out who it's all going to be.
As Tyler said, before we get into our top 5 teams for this month, we're going to bring up some teams that just missed out on the top 25 with our 26 through 50 rankings. So those are on the screen now. Each of us have picked one of these teams to give a shout out to as an honorable mention for this month's FTC top 25. Anthony, go ahead.
There were many teams deserving of this, but my top 50 shout out is team 19044 Peppers from Iași, Romania. They currently have the world record with their sister team 19043 Silas. This bot is quick and agile and nimble on the field, and their OPR of 152.99 shows that. Their active intake into their very thin but fast outtake mechanism is something I marvel at. Their level 3 ascent is one of few in Romania. This entire bot is a marvel as it's quick, but it can push other robots around as needed. When I think of Romania, I think of competitive robots, and this is one of them for sure. I cannot wait to see them in the Romanian National Championship.
Awesome. Jessica, what about your top 50?
Yeah, so for my top 50 pick, I picked team 14380 Blue Bot Builders from Northgate, Australia. And something that I think is very notable is that they haven't had an official competition since the Australian Nationals, which is around December, and their OPR is still in the global top 100 with 152.04. And one of my favorite parts about this robot is that they do their active intake very well. You know, you see teams doing claw a lot of the time. So, you know, the advantage of having that claw is, you know, you can go above all the samples and, you know, pick and choose what you want. But with this team's very optimized drop down intake, it also achieves the same, you know, qualities of a claw. So I can't wait to see what this team decides to move forward with to compete at the World Championships.
Awesome. And Buru, who's your top 50?
My top 50 pick is 310 Style Fusion from New York City. They continue to show that they managed to be very competitive with very light and very simple robots that perform incredibly well, as they were the winning alliance captain at the last qualifier event they attended. I'm impressed by how stable the robot seems. I think this is due to the fact that they use 2 motors for the pivot on the pocket box tube, and they mirror their driving. They are very precise and can get 3 to 4 second sample cycles.
Yeah. All right. And my top 50 shout out is team 17324 Green Machines from College Station, Texas. They're currently ranked 19th by total OPR and 18th by tally-up OPR in the world. They competed a few days ago, going 4-1. And the video we have here shows a quick 5-sample auto, so 1 cycle from the submersible, and just smooth, consistent tally-up basket cycles. I think they're another robot that is equipped to do well in competition, given their active intake and robust wide base. And as teams face more and more contact during intaking in the submersible, I think Green Machines will just consistently come out on top. Looking at endgame, they have a level 2 hang, but they achieve it by hanging on that high rung for the level 3. I think Green Machines will be further up on our T25 next month with some intake slide speed ups and a level 3 hang. Great. So lots of excellent teams in our 26 through 50. You know, it's always so competitive. But starting off our top 5, we have team 21336, I Forgot, from Vancouver, Washington. They are currently ranked 9th by OPR from a competition in mid-December and have a very capable robot. Auto, super consistent with the sweeping technique for moving the samples. Teleop is very versatile thanks to their pitching slides that allows them to score and intake all around this field just super quickly. But most importantly to me is their hang. I Forgot did a level 3 hang every single eliminations match they had 2 weeks ago, which is just awesome. I think that level of reliability is unseen from other teams. And more important than just doing the level 3 hang is how quickly they do it. So in this match, you can see they started around 20 seconds and then they're fully hanging with 10 seconds left. If they, continue pushing this lower and lower, they're going to have time for at least one more cycle as compared to anyone else on the field. This advantage is really huge, and I think it's going to be a game changer for Washington State's. Jessica, anything you want to add?
Yeah, a level 3 hang this consistent and this fast is definitely extremely rare to come by. Getting those consistent level 3 hangs it gives your point boost a really healthy area of scoreability. So I think that this team will do excellent at their regional competition. And yeah, best of luck to this team.
Cool. Anthony, let's hear about number 4.
At number 4, we have 21380 Beyond Robotics from San Marino, California, with an OPR of 207.61, making them 3rd overall in the world. Their auto OPR of 45.55 makes them 11th, and their teleup OPR of 162.06 makes them 3rd. Their endgame OPR is low, but that does not matter as they make up for it in teleup. Depending on who they're with, depends on their strategy, and they can hold their own. We saw them earlier tonight running with 9881, running their specimen auto, and we see them here running their specimen auto as well. But during the teleop period is where they really show that versatility. They're truly a bot. They can adapt and change and do what they need to. Their active intake and their smaller end effector claw pair well. They're a very fast robot and one I cannot wait to see more of. SoCal is competitive, and we see that with Team 21380. I cannot wait to see what they do moving forward. Buru, do you have any comments?
And I think Beyond Robotics, personally myself, they took me by surprise, and they're the first, I think, team in the top 25 that have an OPR of over 200. They seem to be just a very simple robot that is driven really well, and I love to see that.
Yeah. All right. Jessica, you want to go on? You want to start our top 3?
Yeah, sure. So at number 3, we have team 14270 Quantum Robotics from Bucharest, Romania. And something I do have to say is this is one of the fastest robots that I've seen all season, which is definitely reflected in their 230.09 OPR, which is the highest in the world right now, which is absolutely insane. In terms of the robot design, it looks like they're using a box tube with a passive claw pass-through design. And you can see it's very well optimized for efficient scoring. Their intaking within the submersible looks very effortless. And right now they have a level 2 hang, so I can only imagine how high they'll score in the future once level 3 hang is possible. And yeah, I've never thought that we would get to a point in this season to see a team with an OPR this high, but here we are. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Quantum always does crazy things every season. I feel like this season they've gotten an earlier start, and they've put out a super awesome robot, very early, where typically we'll see like right before regional. So I'm really excited about that, and I think they've made it, at least to me, very clear that for basket cycling, you don't need that transfer, and like a transferless robot like Quantum has will hold its own all the way to Worlds. Specimen, I still think the transfer is useful because you can start intaking while you're depositing, all of those things. But yeah, I think Quantum has really set the standard for basket cycles. Buru, you want to go on to number 2?
Right. Number 2 is Road to D2, my beloved. From Pledge to Armenia, few teams have robots that are so well built and so competitive. This year they have yet again come up with such an amazing and elegant robot. Everything about it is so fast. Their intake is instant, they score the specimens upside down. Right now they have the 4 highest OPR at a bit over 200. They'll compete in the league tournament on the first weekend of February, and I expect them to do incredibly well. But they will be put against a multitude of very, very good robots. Right now, I'm told the robot is in pieces, and that something exciting is coming, like a lever 3 hang and some other improvements.
Yeah, I think Anthony or Buru, one of you mentioned that Adna Robotics is is the first robot that you've seen is wider than it is long. I think Roto-D2 is the opposite of that. They have like the highest width to length ratio I've seen of a robot, so it's really interesting why they decided to go with that architecture. But clearly, it's working out super, super well for them. Anthony, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think At first, whenever they've had their first competition, their OPR was so low. I'm like, okay, what's going on? It's Road 2D2. It's a team that always get year in, year out. And I'm like, okay, they're probably working through something. Then after they had their first competition, I'm like, okay, this is the Road 2D2 we all know. And I'm really excited to hear where they go. And like Bruce said, that their robot is being improved. And it's crazy to think that this robot, it can be improved because it's so good already. And I can't wait to see what happens and how it improves from here.
Yeah, I think I had them as my snub or top 50 shout out last month, but yeah, I'm really glad to see where they are in January. So going on to number one, for the first time ever, our top three teams in the top 25 are all international teams, and not just international, but all Romanian teams. So huge props to Team 19043 Silas for taking home our January top 25 as the number one team. Silas has just been such a powerhouse these past few seasons. And right now they're sitting at second in total OPR, first in auto, second in teleop, and hold the first, third, and sixth top 10 scores in the world. I think they have just defined the success of the dual intake outtake meta this season and will continue to do so. Since last competition, we can clearly see a new tiny box tube end effector on their robot, but what is less apparent is how they power their slides. Silas is running a differential gear shifter to power both their intake and outtake slides with just two motors, but also be able to switch into a higher gear ratio for hanging. And so from a design perspective, this mechanism is just like absolutely beautiful. I remember seeing like the initial CAD and the prototypes for it and stuff like that. And from an implementation perspective, I am really, really impressed with how consistent and fast it is, just like 100% of the time. I think everyone can learn something from Silas's matches, whether it be how to pick up samples and choose which samples to go for, to understanding how to speed up specimen drop off, or just generally how to drive in a high contact matches. I always tell my teams, like, if you want to win a competition, you have to be playing at a level that's competitive for the next stage, right? And Silas is doing that. They're playing at a level above almost all teams I've seen this season, and I just can't wait to see what they bring to Romania Nationals. Jessica, what do you think?
Yeah, just their technological innovation just paired up with their extremely fast robot. Their chassis is just blazingly fast. It's very rare you see teams like this, and it definitely makes sense for a Romanian team to be really challenging and all the other teams in the world. So yeah,
Yeah.
best of luck to this team and excited to see what they come up with in the future.
So, Brew, you guys compete again when?
Uh, i- in the middle of March, it's from 14th to 16th of March. That's the national championship. But we might attend some unofficial competitions between then. We'll see.
Okay, so 2 months of quiet. Anything you want to mention, or
Yeah.
just keep it under wraps?
There's some things coming, but I'm not gonna tell you what. There's a lot of sensors involved. That's
Awesome.
Mm.
So, with that, we're going to wrap up our January FTC Top 25. Please let us know what teams you think deserve to be in the top 25 that weren't, and also vote if you think so. Let us know in the fun Discord or comment on the YouTube video. And before we end for the night, let's do our last giveaway. Tyler?
Yeah, once again, that was for the 35 age rounder compliance stars from our friends at AnyMark. Once again, if you do win, please go to funroboxnetwork.com, click the button on the bottom of the page for a giveaway winner, and we'll get that information over to AnyMark to ship out to you. So congratulations to Quinn Courtbus. Congratulations, Quinn. Once again, go to funroboxnetwork.com and click on the button in order to claim. By the way, please, giveaway winners, you need to claim within a couple days, or we're going to redraw on our fun Discord for new giveaway winners as well, too. So please make sure you put that in as soon as possible for us. And thanks again to all of our YouTube subscribers, our YouTube followers, our YouTube supporters, and our members who are getting some ad-free content as well.
All right, Jessica, why don't you head us out?
Yeah, for sure. So thank you for all the follows and subscriptions we received today. Don't forget that you can help support the channel through YouTube for ad-free and early access videos. We hope you enjoyed this episode of FTC Top 25. So if you want to stay connected with what Fun FTC is doing, follow us on Instagram, Facebook under @FunFTC. Watch other Fun FTC content at Fun Robotics Network on YouTube, and join our Discord through the link in the chat.
All right, and on behalf of myself, Anthony, Jessica, Buru, and our producer Tyler working behind the scenes, I would just like to thank you all for tuning in. Keep an eye out for future new FTC content coming on YouTube, new live shows, and we've decided we're going to have our reveal night the Friday before World, so that's going to be April 11th. We'll have a bunch more announcements about it, but it's always a great night. We're looking forward to see you all there, and thank you for tuning in tonight. Goodbye.
True competitors know that every second counts. That's why Kettering University challenges you to dive in right away as a first-year student. Participating in robotics programs helps Kettering students secure a valuable co-op. Whatever your interests, Kettering gives you more space to work faster and win faster. Learn more at kettering.edu/first. The new Robotics system by AnyMark can reduce complexity and enable robust builds. Parts aligned to a common 1/2-inch grid, simplifying construction and allowing alignment of both structure and motion components. Robotics enables teams to always have the parts they need to complete a build. Head on over to anymark.com/robots to learn more and order today.